take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Damn, Perk did this?
I don't need no one to save me. I was born to be the greatest. All that time in that basement, all that time isn't wasted. Rapping getting faded. I just wanna tell my mom that I made it. Just wanna be the topic of the conversation. Used to rock the gold plated. Now I'm wearing gold chains like I'm famous.
What is going on, everybody? This is Kings and Dreams. Happy Wednesday. We are in the middle of the week, and we are actually the first day of March, first day of the new month, right? So, new month, new things, positive vibes to everybody. And you see the title, you see the thumbnail, and this gentleman that I'm going to bring up, can't even call him a young man, but he's young at heart, right? But this gentleman I'm going to bring up, he has a lot of things, a lot of information to tell you all. I think that his life story is very interesting, where he comes from, what he is currently doing. And so I will actually let you all hear from him first. Won't waste any more time. Bring on my guest, Mark Daniels, aka Mark Inspiration. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Excuse
Man,
me.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the platform. I know that you and I we were trying to get our schedules aligned, but today is the day, so we're here. We're gonna make it happen, man. Um, so before we get started, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself, and tell the people a little bit about yourself if you don't mind.
All right. Well, my name is Mark Daniels. I don't live actually in St. Louis, but I'll say St. Louis because I live in a small town north of St. Louis called Troy, and nobody knows where that is. So, and some people, when you travel around the world, don't know where St. Louis is. So, what I'll say is I'm from Chicago, and everybody knows where that's at because that makes all the movies. I started a YouTube channel about 3 years ago almost because I have young kids, and a lot of their friends come over and they do not have a clue about women or life or anything. And about 32 or 3 years ago, I kind of hit a bottom in my life, and I got this guy who was a Green Beret, former Green Beret, and he mentored me. And I was over there one time crying about my girlfriend that dumped me. I'd never been dumped before, and he made me write a letter and go bury it in the ground. And he said, "You feel to her," and I did it. And he said, "You feel better, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, when you get big and strong like me," he said, "you're going to pass this on like I'm passing it on to you." So I always remember, Dad. So I've been doing that ever since, but I just started doing it on the YouTube channel here about 3 years ago, as I said. And I share a variety of different things, not just about women, but about travel and about life in general, because so many young men, especially here in the West, they do not have a clue. A lot of them are raised up in single mother households, and I've been fortunate enough to have a very, how do I say, a life full of variety and adventure. So I've had a lot of different experiences, and I pass on what I've learned, what wisdom I have to other people, younger people and older people also. So that's basically why I started doing that, because I found out through the last 30 years or more that by sharing what I've learned, I get back, it comes back to me multiplied, because you can't put anything out into life. Whatever you put out there is going to come back multiplied. Because I learned when I was about 30, when I hit that bottom, that whatever you take, if you're just living for yourself, you'll end up by yourself. And that's where I ended up, and I knew why. So I turned that around. I said, well, if the law works that way, then it works the other way too. So I started giving. Today I have a wonderful life. Not a life without problems or troubles. We all have that. We're going to have it as long as we're here. But I'm telling you what, I have a life that you just couldn't. I can't even describe it. I have a great life today.
Man, that's excellent. That's excellent to hear. So I'm glad that you said that, like, you got the information from someone else, probably your elder, and then now you're able to pass that information down, and
Right.
and it's like a domino effect, and and it's a good domino effect. So I'm glad that 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 you are able to do that, and hopefully the information that you're passing down to your children, and they could pass it down to their friends and their children, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, yeah. Where would we be if nobody passed the information on, that they learn? That's kind of how it reminds me of that movie. What was it called? Lucy, with Morgan Freeman in it. And he told her she had all this knowledge, and he told her that was the meaning of life was just to pass it on. I think that's very important, to pass on what we learned to the younger generation. And as I said, I think the younger men are really lacking in a lot of that. They're getting most of their information from social media, and there are some good guys on social media and good people, but there's nothing like being with someone. I mean, I get a lot of good information off of YouTube and different places like that too. It's great, but it's better if you can find someone that you can talk to face to face.
Right, exactly. Yeah, get that information kind of, firsthand. Right. So this way you can have a dialogue with someone. So you can see someone talking in a video, but when you're able to actually engage with that person in real time, right? Because so like for me, for an example, my channel talks about motivation, lifestyle, and so really about like travel, dating, relationships, but maybe some of the things that I'm saying may not necessarily fully appeal to someone, but some of it may. But if I'm talking to someone in real time, that specific piece of information that they need from me can help them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot different. Well, and here, I mean, social media is good to get connected with people because we can talk like we're talking now.
Right.
I won't say that's quite as good as being in person, but it's pretty dang good. I mean, to talk to people like this is the next best thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, as long as you can get like a real-time reaction. Yeah. So absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure you've met, I've traveled, and I know you've traveled. I'm sure you've met girls, and sometimes before I travel, if I'm going to meet somebody, I'll usually talk to them on like we're speaking now.
Right.
And it's amazing sometimes when you meet them like this, as soon as you get on, or as soon as it's happened to me, as soon as I get on the line with them on cam call, I mean, they're pretty and everything, but there's something about their personality just I don't like. Now there was one time I met a girl in Wisconsin. I talked to her on cam call first, and it seemed okay, but as soon as she walked in the room when I was up there, it's like I didn't like her. I mean, I didn't hate her, but it's just we didn't click. So there is a difference between this but this is the next best thing, and this is a good deal to kind of get the feel for what somebody's like, I think, before you even go on a date locally, unless if it's just in the same town, 5 minutes to get there, that's one thing, but I think it's a good idea to talk to somebody on cam before that way. I know flaking is pretty popular here in the U.S., so I think that may cut down your chances of someone flaking on you. But,
I completely agree. I completely agree. Like, talking on video chat prior to the date. I mean, yeah, if the person is like 5 minutes down the street, whatever. But like, if you have to drive, if a guy has to drive, maybe like 45 minutes to an hour or something like that, round trip, you're wasting about 2 hours of your time, where you can kind of nip that in the bud if you're, having a conversation with this woman via FaceTime or, how we're doing right now. So yeah, no, that definitely makes a lot of sense. So my next question is that, what's like, one of the main catalysts outside of you being upset over an ex that makes you continue to do what you do?
You mean, let me see, I'm not quite sure if I understand.
Okay, so let me reiterate. So what you're doing now, correct? So what I'm asking is that what like, was there another catalyst outside of you having a bad breakup?
Well, I don't know if it was that. About 12, I guess it was 12 years ago, I broke up with my ex-wife, and she was from Guatemala.
Okay.
And I raised my kids by myself, 6 of them by myself. And during that time, that's when I saw the need out there. And of course, raising my kids, I didn't have much time for that. And then later on, I dated a girl from Colombia, and I went out with her for about a year, had a good time, and we split up. And that was the time when I kind of went on, I think they call it monk mode.
Yep.
And that's when I got busy with the YouTube channel, and wrote a couple books. Well, I wrote the first book, published that one, and that was kind of a catalyst, because I learned when I break up with someone, at least for the last 30 years, I don't. I mean, of course, my human nature is to blame them, but
Right.
but that's not going to do me any good. So I got to look at myself. How did I get to here? Why did this happen?
Right.
And so that's what I did. I started looking within myself, and it was a good time for me to write that first book, because it was basically my life story or whatever. And by writing that, it was kind of a cathartic, is that the word? Which
Yeah.
helped me to see how my relationships, excuse me, how my relationships have played out in life, how I had some of the same patterns, and what was I learning from these things? Why did I end up? Because the last girl I went out with, I said, well, here's the deal. I said, I could break up with you right now, but I may end up with another girl 6 months. She's going to look different with you, but we're going to be having the same conversation.
Right.
So, and then we stayed together a little bit longer, but anyway, I ended up walking away from her, and we still talk today. It's been quite a few years back, but so that was one of the reasons I thought I'd go ahead and write the book, because someone had suggested me to write that about 8 or 10 years before my parents were still living. There were some things in there I didn't want to write about that. So I would say it was the last breakup that I just wanted to stay away from women, because all my life since I was 15, I've had women. From the time I was
Right.
15 to 30, I was what I guess you'd call a bad boy. I rode a Harley Davidson. I got in fights,
Right.
had long hair, and I had a harem of women all the time. Okay,
Right.
so, and then from then on, I got married a few times and tried to be the good guy. And I tell you what, it just didn't work out for me. Actually, one of my ex-wives left me, and she says, "You're a good husband and a good father, but I just can't live this kind of life." And she ran off with the meth dealer who just got out of jail. I mean,
Oh, wow.
the classic story. So, and I ended up doing that. I ended up in that situation. Actually, my last ex-wife from Guatemala, similar situation. I mean, we've been divorced probably 11 or 12 years. But I mean, I could have her back. I mean, she made a mistake. She realizes that now, but I really couldn't transition from the bad boy or I don't know what happened, to the steady. I could do it, but women become bored. So I really had a hard time. I mean, I made it 12 years the last time, but so anyway, back to your original question. So after going through all those, I thought it was time to sit down and kind of just review my life, stay away from women for about 2.5 years. I just went celibate, which is something I never did in my life. I mean, like I said, I always had women or something. So that's basically what started that. I thought, I need to look at myself. I need to stay away from women for a while. And of course, it helped with the COVID thing going on, and I couldn't travel. So
Right.
yeah, that's kind of what started it off.
Okay. All right, perfect. And you mentioned that you said like you were kind of like a bad boy, and you had the Harley Davidson and everything like that. And so I just kind of wanted to just show like your website, the beginning. So just kind of read like the first excerpt, if you will, kind of like your monologue.
Yeah.
Because I think that your story is definitely very, very interesting here. Just give me 1 minute. All right. Everyone in the chat could just put a 1 if they could see my screen. Mark, can you see my screen?
I can see it, but I can't read it because I got it on the camera.
Oh yeah, no worries. Okay. So hold on. This is all right. This is the website here.
I got it on here. I put my glasses on. Maybe I can see it. Yeah, I can see it here.
Okay.
On my computer. Let me magnify it a little bit.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm just gonna read what you wrote here. So you say that I've made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. Most people would likely say I spent most of my life as a failure. They're not wrong. I'm what some might say a slow learner. Hold on, let's see. I was 10 when I first got drunk. After recovering from many hours of throwing up, you think that I learned my lesson, but I hadn't. In fact, I spent the next several years trying to outdo the experience. I started getting into drugs when I was 13. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
By the time I was 17, I had brought a motorcycle. Okay, this is where the motorcycle comes in now. I had brought a motorcycle and spent most of the time traveling from job to job, bar to bar across the United States. It became the first goal in my life to live like hold on, to live like the two stars from the movie Easy Rider.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I know that movie,
Oh,
but
1969.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Peter
I don't
Fonda.
know that movie,
Yeah.
but basically, okay, you were a bad boy on a Harley. Yeah, I think we could get the gist of that one.
Yeah.
All right, so I partied, abused every drug available, drank myself useless, and spent every night with a different woman. I developed a love for picking fights and was a pretty good brawler. Okay, so like, wow, okay. So you used to get into like a lot of bar fights and stuff, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
I see the punching bag behind you.
Well, I ended up, I got in a little trouble when I was about 19 or 20 in a bar fight, and it's just turned into a mess. And I hit a guy in the head with a chair and busted his head open after I punched his friend. They run us out, and then that guy come out with a knife looking for me, and then he stabbed the guy that was with us. And we had a 9mm under the seat. I got that out, and I got to the door, and they took it away from me. Fortunately, or I may not be sitting there talking to you. I don't know what I was going to do. I was a little buzzed up, and anyway,
Yeah.
I got in trouble for that, and that's when I thought, well, maybe I ought to try boxing. That's a little more civilized. So that's when I got into boxing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that was basically the like the last few sentences that you just said here.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Let me just read the next paragraph. I think okay. Tried to settle down after that. Then you met a young lady in a small town, and then you got married. So this was your first wife, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But then you were up to your old tricks. You cheated on her.
Yeah. I just had a hard time, man. It was like 6 months. We was married about 6 months, and I was
Yeah.
out running because I was doing triathlons at that time. I quit boxing, and seen this nice looking girl up the street, and I got talking to her, and I tell you what, I just couldn't resist. And then I had to drink to cheat on my wife. That's a clue, a red flag I should have known, but I just couldn't do it. So anyway,
Yeah.
that started more drinking and partying and more cheating. And then I had ended up, before I divorced her, I had her and I had 2 steady girlfriends, and I was sleeping with a bunch of other girls, and they all knew it, but I didn't rub it. I didn't rub it in their face, but they all knew it, but they just kind of accepted it. So
Right. Wow.
girls like guys like that. I had girls chasing. I mean, leaving notes on my car. They'd chase me down. I could tell you stories. You understand? You know how that works.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely know. Like, the ladies do like the bad boys. The ladies like the bad boys. So,
And I had the classy chicks, not the broken home ones. I had the top end girls too. And I used to wonder back then. I thought, I know these guys, these farmers around here, and these high end guys that come from good families. Got to wonder what these girls see in me. I mean, I didn't realize at the time what they seen in me, but it was adventure. It was exciting. That women, they got to have drama, so
yep.
they like that.
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Okay, let's see here. So you kept hold on. All right, so you kept seeking improvement, you kept asking questions, and we're trying to make sense of the world around you that you were living over time. You gained knowledge and wisdom. You found yourself, and so I assume that this is where you found the older gentleman who spoke to you.
Yeah, I was around 30 years old, 31. That's kind of when I hit a bottom, and I ended up in my apartment in a different town by myself. And I thought,
Okay.
I looked in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw, and
Right.
I walked back in my bedroom, and I still remember that night. I thought, man, you know why you're here by yourself? Because that's all you ever thought about. Because at that time, I had this one girl that I was dating, and I'd broken up with her, and I'd picked up a couple girls, and just girls didn't even. That just didn't even drinking didn't make me feel good anymore, and then girls didn't make. I still could pick up the beautiful girls, but it just it just what didn't do anything for me anymore.
Right.
And I thought to myself, well, I know I'm here by myself just because I always thought about me. So that was when I started, really trying to change my life. Now, I said the only mistake I made there was I told you how I lived my life with women before. And what I did was I looked back on that and I was pretty dishonest with women. So, but I was honest in business, but I had like separate. My personal life was kind of a sham, but the point I'm making here is I look back on that and I thought I threw the baby out with the bathwater as far as dating the women. I thought everything I did was bad, so I just quit doing all, and that was wrong. So I quit doing all, and I decided I was going to, because a man I believe plays many parts in his life. I played many parts, and we can change our character whenever we want to.
Right.
So I decided I was going to be the good guy. Not really the nice guy, but the good guy, the guy who's stable, dependable, honest, straight with women.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, looking back, that was three marriages ago, I think, because I was divorced my first wife, but that was 3 marriages ago, and I'm telling you, it didn't work out too well. And I'm not telling you have to be bad to women, but it doesn't work like they tell you it works. As far as it's just. You got to have a little mystery there. At least that's what I've learned. They don't like it if you're steady and loyal and stable, and they never have to worry about you or wonder if you're, at least the women here in the States.
That's true.
Because they don't need a man here. Now you've traveled and I have too. In other countries, they need a man directly. Now we've created an illusion here. I like to say this. We've created an illusion in the U.S. Our men, out of the love for women and children, to where women think they don't need a man, and they don't need a man directly. But if men stopped doing what men do, everything would fall apart, and they couldn't put it back together. But we've made so many systems and structures to protect women and children that a lot of them don't realize that they need men. So yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But before we get there, I just want to let everyone know. Please check out Mark's website. Definitely has and I believe you have links to your books here that you've written about your life.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's and I appreciate your transparency, because a lot of people to put this information out there that there's you and the Harley right there. So like to put that information out there about yourself, and like it's that I have to tip my hat to you, because a lot of people would not do that. Honestly,
Well,
a lot of people would not do that.
You got to live your life for yourself. I'm 62 years old. Who's going to care in 20 or 30 years, or even now? Most people are too concerned about themselves. If I can help somebody by sharing something that's going to help them, then that's what life's all about, is giving. Really, I used to think it was about what I was going to get. We're taught from the time we're born. You got to go out there and get what you want. Well, I believe whatever you want, you got to go out and give it away, and it'll come back to you. That's what I've learned in my life. That's what I believe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah. So just, going back into what you were saying about the woman, here in the United States, where they're programmed, if you will, to not need a man. And I will say that, there are some women in the States that are, more self-sufficient than outside of the United States as far as financial.
Yeah.
And but as you mentioned, like, if the like if there's a crack in the ship, we are going to be the ones that's going to have to fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just very interesting that it's very interesting that, like, you say that. And which kind of goes into one of my next questions, right? So the title of this is about, traditional, right? And so, do you believe that traditional women are dying out worldwide? And if so, how does that affect the world?
Well, I think the this is a joke, but I'll say I think the cancer of the West is spreading throughout the world.
Yeah,
I
no,
make a joke
I
like
believe that
like
too.
it's a cancer, but I think it's mostly what we call the West is where it's worse because, like just like what I said about we've created a world for
Mhm.
women, the men have to where they feel like they don't need a man, and they don't need a man directly. But in other parts of the world, it's still very much they need a man to protect them. When I lived in Guatemala, when you go to bed at night, you got bars on the windows and the steel door. You'd have to have a tank or a torch to get through that. And if you're a woman down there living by yourself, it's extremely dangerous. It's like living in the Wild West. At least they still lynch people down there. I mean,
Really?
if you get caught stealing, they will chase you down the mob and beat the hell out of you. And if you survive
Really?
yeah, and if you survive that, they pour gas on you and burn you. And very rarely do the police stop it because they don't have enough police there. So
Right.
the charge rate on murder down that was when I lived there. It's been 10 years, but the charge rate on murder there is less than 1%. They just don't have enough police, and the police are it's corrupt there. Corruption's on a lower level you can participate in with a couple bucks. So because
Right.
they don't pay them enough. So
Right. Yep.
but that's the thing. In places, there's a lot of places like that, and worse. Honduras was even poorer than Guatemala, where these women are not safe by themselves, so they need a man. They need a strong man to protect them. Now
Right.
up here, a lot of them think they don't need a man because
Right.
usually you can get the police there pretty quick. But I've been in situations, even here in the U.S., when the police weren't going to take care of a situation. I had to act physically to take care of it. More times than out of the country because you got to depend on yourself. But even here in the States, you can't always depend on the police to be there.
I completely agree. I completely agree. I mean, um, now I haven't been to Honduras or Guatemala, but you did mention Colombia, and so I've been to Colombia. I have a place in Medellin. Now, um, I'm not sure when was the last time you've been to Colombia?
I have not been there since before I was there in January 2020. Was that when that pandemic started? 2020.
The pandemic actually started in March.
Okay, so I went there in January, and I was thinking I was glad I got back without getting stuck down there. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was the last
Gotcha.
time I was there, and then I wouldn't travel, and I didn't travel for a long time, even after they opened it up, because I didn't want to wear a mask and do all that. So
Right. Yeah.
I started traveling again when I did. I don't know if I didn't have to wear a mask when I went to Mexico. I can't remember, but when I went to Dominican, I didn't have to do anything. And when I went to
Mhm.
Mexico, I don't think I had to do anything, but I did have to take one of those tests before I came back. That was this spring, last
Yeah.
spring. So, and in Dominican, I didn't have to do anything. Just go there and come back. So
Okay.
that was good. But I haven't
Okay.
been to Colombia. But I think the only thing you have to do to go to Colombia now, I read the other day, is you have to have a test 72 hours before you go there. But then you don't have to have anything to come back to the U.S. So that's pretty good.
Yep. Yeah. No, absolutely. But I was gonna ask you, like, in reference to your experience in Colombia, because you mentioned like they had like bars on the windows and things like that. So, like for me, where I'm at in Medellin, like I'm in the Poblado section, so it's
Yeah,
pretty
I,
safe.
that's where I go. Yeah, I did. I mean, I've walked around the streets at night there by
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
up to Yedis Park and different places. Yeah.
No more Parqueyetas now because they're taking advantage of a lot of guys out there.
Really?
Yeah, and Parqueyetas, yes, yeah,
What's happening? There's no
uh,
problem.
so they have so they have this drug. It's called scopolamine.
Yeah, I just read about that a while back.
Yeah, so what they're doing is that they're putting so like a woman meets a guy, right? Like, you have your drink right there, and you have a beautiful woman sitting next to you. Let's say you just turn your head. No, I'm serious. You
No,
turn your head.
yeah, I
Yeah.
heard.
You turn your head for a minute. She pours the scopolamine. You know, you and the thing is, like, you get knocked out. Thankfully, you get knocked out because some women have poured too much, and some men have, for YouTube guidelines, have gotten deleted. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I didn't.
Oh,
When I went down,
it's a big thing. It's a big thing, Mark. I'm telling you.
really, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that prevalent. When I went down there, I met the same girl. I went out with the same girl the whole
Yeah.
time I was there. So, but I didn't. I wasn't even aware of that. I guess it wasn't very popular when I was going down there. So, yeah.
No,
of
it
course.
just yeah, it just really started getting popular. I would say like within like the past year. Yeah, so
Yeah.
kind of like because you went down there before the pandemic, so
Right.
everything was kind of fine. When the pandemic happened, a lot of businesses, were completely shut
Yeah.
down. Yeah, and so a lot of these ladies got they got desperate, and it's really like they're either their boyfriends or someone that's really putting the ladies up to it
Right.
to do this to the other guys. And
Yeah.
so
I started going down there in 2018, and I've
okay.
been to Medellin quite a few times, Cartagena, Santa
Yep.
Marta, San Andreas. I've only been through Bogota at the airport. I never went out anywhere there. So,
Okay. Nice. What about Cali?
oh yeah, Cali is actually where I met that. That's where I went first because I met the girl there. Actually, I was going there to meet three girls.
Oh wow.
Well, I met her, and then I just decided not to meet the other girls. So I sent them a text and said I wasn't going to make it. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's where she was at originally, and then she moved to Medellin, and I'd meet there. But we traveled. We went to Paris and Aruba and different places. I had a lot of fun. We'd go out about once a month and travel, and I had a good time with her. But she was young, and young girls like to party, and
Right.
I did my part. I quit my party when I was about 30, so I had enough of that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So you were pretty much done with that.
Yeah.
Sidebar. How many countries have you been to?
I don't know. I never really counted all of them. I've been to everything. Central America, I've been to almost all of. Well, let's see, 4 or 5. Let me see, Honduras. Well, I couldn't count them all, but I would say not that many. Maybe 15, maybe. I don't know. I've been over to Europe. I've been to Ukraine. I met up
Okay.
with some girls over there. That was before they were actually having a war then too, but it was over in the east. So there
Okay.
wasn't a problem there. And they had a skirmish there in Kiev, but it was over at the time. But there's some beautiful women over there. I met up with 4 or 5 girls over there. And I had this one girl that I would talk to. She became a flight attendant, but I lost her number. I don't know whatever happened to her. I wish I could get a hold of her. So, but anyway, that's life.
Man, you got a full roster. You don't even have a basketball team, man. You got like a football team. You saying you got 3 there, 4 there, 5 there. Man, okay, Mark. I see you, man. I see you got a whole football team.
I don't do what I used to. I'm pretty picky. I meet a lot of girls, but I
Yeah.
don't. I'm real selective about who I get close to. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, the thing about it is that I like when you kind of, when you've kind of had like the life that you've had, where you've had so many, like you get to a point where it's like, all right, I can slow down and maybe like I can have like 1 or 2, and if this one doesn't work, I'll go to the next one, and it's all good, no
Right.
problem.
well, and I've learned to be by myself. I mean, I'm in good company when I'm alone, so that's cool too. It's like I don't have to have.
Right.
And that's why I said I did the whatever
Monk
they call it, monk mode or celibacy thing for all that time because I looked at my life, the last breakup I had, and I saw how much sex actually kind of controlled me. So whatever you don't control controls you. So I felt like I needed to get a handle on that and show myself that I could take it or leave it and control it. Where it didn't, because that runs so many men's lives and they don't even realize it.
You know what? That's an excellent point, right? So, yeah, I would say that trying to get intimate with a woman or multiple women, it does control a lot of men's lives, and I think it's because for some, for most men, especially nowadays, like you can't be an average man anymore. You have to be above average. So
At least here, yeah, that's true.
yeah, so like the average guys, so the average guy is trying to get it, and like that's just like their only focus. And when you just focus on that, you lose focus on pretty much almost everything in your life, and you're not without realizing it, like parts of your life start to fall apart because that's all you're chasing.
Yeah, you go chasing what. I mean, through my years, we used to call it hunting. We'd go out. We had dances here when I was younger, and we'd say, "Oh, let's go to the dance and hunt for some women." Well, 9 times out of 10, if I went hunting, I didn't get anything. Or you'd go to the dance, and there'd be this one girl you knew you could be with, but you'd wait because you would try to get this other one. And what would happen is, by the time you realize you couldn't get I'll say the higher class girl or whatever, somebody else done picked up on your shirt. Your shirt thing, and then you end up going home by yourself. So
right.
It's kind of funny, but yeah, if you think about it, if you're chasing women, the word chasing actually means that something's running away from you. The best thing you can do, I think, as a man, what's worked best for me in my life is when you're okay with you and you got something you're chasing after, not a woman, a vision, a purpose, whatever that happens to be, that's more important to you. Because a woman does not want to be pedestalized, contrary to what they're told, what we kind of programmed here to believe in the West. It just doesn't work. You cannot put a woman that high up on. It just doesn't work. They don't want to be there.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true. Very, very true. And kind of so just kind of circling back here, where we talk about the traditional woman, and I wanna play a video that you did. I want to go through the video with you when you had mentioned myself and Austin Holloman. Let me just pull that up.
Yeah, I was watching you guys the other night. Just
thank you. Yeah, was that on my birthday or?
Yeah, it might have been. Let me see. It was just here a while back, close back. It might have been your birthday. I can't remember if you said it.
Was there like a lot of people, or was it just he and I?
I don't remember.
Sorry about that.
I think it was just you and him.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I was on I was on his platform.
Yeah, could have been. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but I was watching you guys.
Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna just press play.
Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today, as always. I'm making an extra video today because someone commented on a thread that I commented on, and he made a good point. I don't think he understands exactly what I'm talking about. And I thought about the passport.
Is the volume good for everyone?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. I just want to make sure everyone in the chat can hear it, though. If the volume is good for everyone, if the volume is good, press 1. Let me know if y'all can hear it. Press 1 if the volume was good. Oh, it's a little low. Hold on. Let me try to all right. So I have it all the way up to 100. Okay, let me try this now.
Bros. Because many people give the passport bros a hard time because they go out of the country. They say they have weak game. And of course, maybe some of them do. But that's not necessarily why people go out of the country. I know myself, I have good game. It's just that there's nothing around here that I want to gain. I gained here in the U.S.? Yes, I have. I've been married 4 times. I've had 10 kids. I've had long-term relationships beside my marriages. I've had one-night stands. I've been with many women. Probably not as many as the players nowadays because promiscuity wasn't quite as heightened back in my day as it is now. But I still date. The last girl I dated, she's 23, okay? And that was like this last summer. So to find a girl where I live who's not overweight, that's over 20, it's just damn near impossible. I live in a rural Midwestern town, and even if you go to St. Louis, it's not much better. In the US, the average weight of American woman is 172 pounds. I mean, if you like.
Wait a minute, I have to stop right there. So
Okay.
so the average weight in the United States for a woman is 172 pounds.
Well, you got to figure that's women from the range, whatever age range, go up to 70 or 80. Because, most women, when they get over 40 or 50, are always overweight. So, yeah, we
Right.
have like a 70. And, my boys like thick girls. It's just not my cup of tea. So it just depends on what the preference. And my preference is for more in shape girls.
Right.
And I find even the girls in other countries that are heavy, they're not out of shape.
That's
It's
true.
It's different. They may be heavy, but they're not flabby, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it.
I know what you mean. So like they may be bigger, but like they're toned.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
'Cause
get
they
what you're
work.
saying.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, let's continue.
Like overweight girls, that's great. I don't. I like girls that are built
Mark, you're
like
funny.
a sprinter. Sorry. It's just my preference.
It's all good.
The way I've kept my body all my life. If you look at my profile, you'll see that I'm in tip-top shape, and I stay that way, and I always have, regardless of my age. Now, I got a little heavy one time, about 20 years old, but I got that off pretty quick. Worked hard for it, so it was tough. I'm not condemning anyone who's overweight. It's tough. We live in a country that's so abundant that it's hard not to get fat. I mean, that's pretty cool because it used to be hard to survive and hard to find food, but it's the opposite here. No other time in the world has everyone had such an abundance available to them. Although we do have people that starve and are in lack of water every day. It's sad. I don't understand it. I think it's caused by greed, but that's a whole nother video. So we're talking about dating outside the country. I know the passport bros get bashed for that, and that's bullcrap. There's nothing here I want to date. There's nothing here I want. Now, that's not to say that there's not a few out there. I'm sure there are good women left here in the US, but it's few and far between. And if you can, why not go somewhere where the women are more to your liking, more feminine, they respect men, they still have more traditional values, they still want to stay home and take care of their kids, they still want to take care of their man, and they expect the man to take care of them. And what's wrong with that? I have no problem taking care of my woman. I've done it before. And as a matter of fact, the woman I divorced came back afterwards and told me they regretted that they left. Well, I left them actually because they started cheating. Okay. So you could say, well, Mark, you didn't have a good game. Now, I'll take my part in that because probably what I did, I know what I did, I became complacent. It's much easier to stay single than it is to stay married because you always have to be on your game. I mean, the last one after we had 6 kids, she wanted to go run and gun. She got to go running with her sisters, and I don't tolerate that crap. All right, I just don't put up with it. I put up with it for a short time, and it's like it's not going to end. So I left her. Fortunately for me, I ended up with the 6 kids. She regretted it, but by the time she wanted to come back, it's too late, man. She done been with some other men. I don't want anything to do with her. Can't trust her anymore.
So okay, so I'll stop right there. I have
Alright.
a couple of questions for you, Mark.
Sure.
Okay, so so kind of going back into what we had discussed earlier about the traditional woman, woman in the United States not necessarily needing a man. Now, do you think that there could be a way where women in the States could go back into more of a traditional role? Now, I don't ever think that it's going to be the same as it was maybe, back in like the 40s or 50s, or, you're my elder, so you can probably speak, but I know you can speak to it better than I can because I just turned 38. But my question is that I know that it's not probably going to be the same, but do you think that there could be a way to where a woman could go back into more of a traditional role, still have a little bit of modern, but understanding that the man is the head of household?
Well, I think it's possible, of course, but it's not likely because the traditional role is belittled. Now, that last woman I was married to, she stayed home with the kids, and women would ask her, "Well, what do you do?" And she's, "Well, I stay home with the kids." And they'd say, "Well, don't you work?" Like, I guarantee you that that's a hell of a lot harder job than it is going to work for somebody else. The daycare industry generates $100 billion a year. The revenue is $47 billion a year, but that's not a valuable career. And what are women and men doing? But they're putting that off on someone else. They take their kid to daycare, 6 or 7 in the morning. They pick them up at 5 or 6. Who's raising those kids? And then they say this. I could go off on a tangent on this one, but they say, "Well, we both have to."
Go ahead, do your thing, Mark.
We both have to work to make it. That's bull crap. Yes, you got to work to make it if you want the $500,000, $1 million home. You want the 2 Escalades in the drive, the jet ski in the garage, the boat down at the lake, and on and on. But that's not the way I grew up. I mean, we had 2-bedroom houses, and my brother and I shared a room, and people just are so. And I'm going to have to blame the men somewhat because men lead the way with materialism, and then the women are following. They think they have to have all this stuff. But what are we telling our kids? We're telling our kids that this stuff and this money is much more important than you. What does a woman have to make? They did a study on what a woman actually has to make to justify putting her kid in daycare. Plus, they always have to have different kind of clothes, and they eat lunch out usually. It's quite a bit of money. And then, and like I say, who's raising the kids? I've been very fortunate here because I'm self-employed. I've spent more time with my kids than most people would get to since it's just been us. And then, of course, now they work for me. We talk as men. I treat my sons as men. One of them's about 14. I treat him as a young man. We didn't even have teenagers till about the 40s or 50s. That's some. And now I guess you've heard too, maybe, that we have a lot of boys that don't turn into men now because we're so comfortable. And so a man or young man has to actively seek out challenge and adversity. Otherwise, he doesn't have any. And this is what makes a man grow. You are not going to gain character and strength without having some type of adversity or challenges in your life. I know everybody badmouths bullies, and I'm not saying bullying is good, but I'm grateful for the people that bullied me because it's a pecking order. It's just the way things, it makes you, I would have never fought if somebody hadn't bullied me a bunch of times. And I love fighting. I finally decided that getting beat up couldn't be as bad as being humiliated. And the way I felt for 2 weeks after somebody called me names, got in my face, pushed me around. And guess what? It wasn't. I got my first fight and I lost, but I felt great because I stood up for myself. I felt like a man. And these kids nowadays don't, you know what they teach in school? They taught my boys, and I don't teach them. If you get in a fight, you have to cover up. And if you fight, there's a zero tolerance, you get kicked out. Well, my kids have been kicked out a couple times, as you can imagine. Right. So my kids are, I'm not a violent guy, and I'm not advocating violence. I am advocating self-preservation and what is it called? Self-defense.
Self-defense, yeah. Being able to protect yourself.
I've been in places when, like I said, I lived in Guatemala where I had to protect my wife, my kids physically. I've had guns pulled on me more than once in my life. And
in Guatemala?
In Guatemala, I got held up once there. I had another time they tried to hold me up. 2 guys did, but I dropped them. I mean, physically, I was running. They tried to get me, but I was able to fight my way out of that. And another time at the bus station, one guy tried to grab my wife. So it's dangerous as heck, man. But I liked it because it was exciting.
Yeah. Remind me to not put Guatemala on my list.
It may not be that way. I don't know if it's that way now. Like I said, that's 10 years ago. It may have civilized. I doubt if it's civilized too much, but who knows? Maybe it has. Yeah. But the point I'm making here is I'm 62 now, and I spar with my kids. They're 2 of them's boxing. They'll be fighting in the Golden Gloves pretty soon. But I'm in good shape. I can go anywhere in the world and know that if I have to, I can take care of myself. Now, does that mean I can't be whipped? Heck no. There's a lot of guys around here who probably whip me. But it gives you a feeling of confidence you really can't get any other way.
Right.
And like I said, it's not about going around acting like a tough guy. It has nothing to do with it. It's just feeling secure in yourself.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, growing up, growing up, like I wasn't looking for a fight, but the thing is that I defended myself, and my neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York, we grew up in a tough neighborhood, and so bigger kids would try you. They would try you just to see. They would try to see if you were a punk, and if you stood your ground, they would kind of back off. But like if you just try to avoid them, or like as you said, like just covering yourself, like no, they're gonna keep trying to pummel you. You have to what's the word I want to say? I can't remember the word, but basically what it is that like you gotta pop someone. You gotta pop someone in the face. Unfortunately, you do.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even unfortunate, but you do have to do that. Like at least back then, like they were gonna press you. They were gonna continue to press you if you did not do something to defend yourself. You cannot just cover up.
Right.
Right. So you had to be like, hey, listen, like back off. Like when you jab someone and you just, like a love tap, back off. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, all right. Like this guy is going to stand up for himself.
Yeah. Until you stand up for yourself, a bully usually 9 times out of 10, they're not going to stop. When you go tell the higher authority, whether that's a teacher, a policeman, or whatever, they're not.
Oh yeah, no, that's worse. That makes the situation worse, because now it's like, oh, now you're gonna tell on me. Oh, now I'm gonna make your life hell.
Right. That's what they tell people. I think they're programming kids from a young age to submit to the higher authority. Don't stand up for yourself. Always call and I think about that as a nation. Do we cow down? Not at all. But yet we teach our people to not stand up for yourself, not to defend yourself. And if you do, I mean, they're teaching at a young, impressionable age. If you do, then you're in trouble with the higher authorities, regardless of what happens. Right. My son, he's 19 now. He spent the night in juvenile jail because there was a guy in class picking on him. He told the teacher, if the kid didn't stop, he was going to stop him. And teacher told the kid to stop, wouldn't stop. Then he told the teacher's aide, and teacher's aide says the kid still wouldn't stop. So my son got up and punched him in the nose, bloodied his nose, and the police carted him off, put him in juvenile detention. He had to spend the night. And then when the juvenile officer found out what happened, they let him out, and it was the end of it. But there you go. See, he got punished for protecting himself when he went to the authorities and tried to tell them. So, but fortunately, or at least I think fortunately, he's got me, and I agreed with what he did. I think he did the right thing.
Right.
But some other kid growing up maybe with his mom or without a male figure might, you better quit that fighting in school. I mean, he thinks he did something wrong because he's told by all the authority figures. And I think it's another reason we have so many men here in the U.S. that don't know how to deal with women because there are single mother homes, and they're raised up seeking the approval of their moms. Most of their teachers are women. They're seeking their approval. So they go out in the dating world thinking, well, I got to be nice and make them happy and seek their approval, and then they'll like me and I'll be good with them. And you know how well that works. That don't work.
Absolutely. So kind of just, and that leads into another question that I had, Mark. And so as we're both talking, right, and the young men nowadays being desensitized, where they're growing up in single parent homes, and acquiescing to their mother, acquiescing to their teachers, and then as they get older and then they get romantically involved and acquiescing to a woman. Do you believe that that's one of the reasons why? Outside of like more working opportunities for women, but do you believe that that's part of the reason why like a lot of women are not wanting to be in a submissive role, because the man is already coming to them in a relationship already wanting to be submissive?
Yeah, I think it's like I believe you're 100% right there. We got a problem both ends. It's like a snowball effect rolling down. They're more submissive, but the women are more masculine.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I just hate it when a woman shakes my hand like a man. You know what I want to do? I mean, they're taught that, and I understand that. So I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
really.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
want to squeeze their knuckles and say, "You're not a man." But I love it when a woman gives me her hand. But they're taught to do that, so it's
right,
not. I understand it's not. They don't know. I'll say they don't know any better, but that's just what they're taught to do.
right.
But they're not a man.
Yeah, no, I mean, it annoys me, but like, I kind of just chuckle, and it's just like, it's just, you know how like, when you like, so I coach my son's football team, right? And so my son will be 9 in May. And so, like, when the kids are like horsing around or whatever, and and like, so like the kid will like one of the kids will like try to like, run into me, trying to be funny and tough, right?
Right.
And then like they like kind of like bounce off my leg, and I'm just like, and I just laugh, and it's just like, oh, that's cute, So like when they shake my hand, like trying to like be firm, I'm like, that's cute, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It like as you said, like you're not a man, and they are taught that, and
Yeah.
it's not, it's just not conducive.
Well, you got women competing with men in the workplace. Okay. Well,
Right.
see how well that works in the sporting events. We've saw what's happened with the. Well, I won't get it because I don't know what I can say on YouTube, but you see what's happening there with some of the people that are. These men are competing against women in women's sports. What's happened there? It just
Yeah.
doesn't work. And it's the same in the workplace. I'm not saying there aren't exceptions. There are. But in general, it's the same in the workplace because a man's going to work harder. He's going to put in more hours. He's going to be more focused. Women are more relationship orientated, family orientated, and they're out of their element as far as I'm concerned. Now, it's going to piss some women off, but it's the truth. Not, like I said, it's not every woman, but in general, we're talking in general terms here. The majority of women are not going to outwork a man. They just can't do it. They don't want to do it.
Right. Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, well, the thing is that like I don't think that the woman should be pissed off, because it's not like we're trying to offend a woman, because there are things that women can do that
Yep.
we just men, we can't, like.
That's right.
Yeah, like women are more nurturing. Like men are typically not nurturing.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I know.
So
Here's, you talk about the kids. Here's an example. Women are much better with kids in general, with family and kids. Like one of my kids, let's say they got in a fight. Well, they're older now, but when they were young, getting a fight, one of them comes up here crying. Now, a mother's going to pick that kid up. Oh, what's wrong, honey? It's okay. What happened? You know what I say? Okay, what'd you do? What'd your party? I mean, I have picked them up like that, but it's not comfortable for me. I mean, I make myself do, but I don't have that in me. I mean, I can make myself do it, but it's a natural thing for a woman, and they can pick that kid up and love that kid. And that's why I'm not one here to say that I can raise my kids better without a good woman, because I know I can't, because they miss out on things that a woman can do for them that I can't.
right.
And what I'm saying here, I'm not bad mouthing women. Women have their characteristics and traits that we don't have and we can't do. I mean, that's why we're better together than we are apart. And
I
that's why
agree.
I'm not into the crew of guys that are, all women are this and all women are that and they're this. That doesn't get us anywhere. We need women too, or guess what? Humanity doesn't survive. Simple as that.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, I hear you on that one. So I had another question for you. So I know that you've had a total of 10 kids, and you've raised 6 by yourself.
Right.
Now what were like some of the complications as for you being a single father?
Well, I've raised these 6 by myself for the last 12 years. I had a couple other ones I raised by myself off and on, but the hardest thing for me was when they were little.
Right.
I couldn't. Fortunately, my mom was still living, so she could watch a couple of them. And at that time, at first, my dad was sick, so I was self-employed. So I was actually not working. I was helping take care of him with my mom. So that went on for about 4 years, and the kids were in school, so they grew up a little bit there. But I basically had to take them with me a lot in a lot of places that I went to. It takes a lot of energy. And even still, it's not quite as bad now, but it was just the energy it takes. and then trying to run a business, or I was running a business. It's difficult.
Right.
But it was difficult taking care of my father for 4 years till he passed too. And I cared for my mother before she passed. So I wanted them both to die in their home, and they did. It was very important to me because my grandma and I were close, and she had to die in a nursing home. I didn't like that. Every time I went there, she wanted to come home. So these things, family is really important to me. These things are important. So you find a way to do it. You just find a way to do it. But I really believe for me, it was easier for me to do it than it would be for a woman because because my income potential and my ability to work harder and longer hours and to handle more stress is greater than a woman's. I think that's just a given. We're just different.
Right.
That's why men can go to war and go through all that crap. Of course, you're going to have women go to war too. How many women are on the front lines? Few. How many women are out there that won the wars? I mean, but see, a lot of women will take it as I'm bad mouthing women. I get called a misogynist, a sexist. I'm just stating the fact. I'm just stating the fact.
We all do. I mean, but if you look at what's going on in the Ukraine, like there's no woman there. And, with what's going on between Russia and Ukraine, there's no woman there for that.
And do we want our women there? I don't want our women there.
Nope.
If we, God forbid, have to get involved in that war over there, are the women going to be sent up? I hope not. I don't want them there. I'm sure they don't want to be there. Unfortunately, I have 5 boys that are about that age, but I guarantee you they'll go if they reinstate the draft. But yeah, we don't want our women there. And so I don't know where they come up with this equal. I mean, we're all equal in the eyes of God, but we're just not the same. We're biologically different. We're made for different things. And when we get together, if we both work together, we're much more powerful than we are by ourselves independently, if we work together. But if you got a bad woman or a woman who's not cooperating, I want to say a bad woman, who's not cooperating with you, you are better off by yourself.
Right.
And in a like manner, if a woman's got a man who's not working and she just well did it, sitting on the couch and she's having to pull a load, then she needs to walk away from that guy.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah. If that man is not pulling his own weight and, he's just sitting on the couch and, eating Funyuns and not doing anything, you know what I mean? Like,
Sitting in the Dorito dust.
Right. Exactly. He got he's wearing a wife beater. He got the Dorito crumbs on his shirt. It's like, no, man, you got to get rid of this guy.
But there are guys that do that. I've seen them. They find these women, they move in with the woman's got a kid or two and she's getting child support and they move in with them and they're just kind of, I mean, I've never done that. And it's not what I would even want to do, but there's men that do that. And these women take them in. And I guess maybe it gives them some kind of feeling of security or something. Now, let me tell you if we go back to the travel. And when I talked to the women in Ukraine, they were between the ages of 27 and 30. Those women, I was explaining to them how you really don't have to work here in the States because you don't. I mean, we got programs for, a woman gets pregnant here, she can go down to the social service office, sign up for, you can get WIC, you can get food, and they give you cash.
You can get all that stuff, man.
Housing.
CD, you get everything.
Okay, these women were working. They were sharing an apartment with a girlfriend, and they were going to the gym and going to and taking classes at college too. That's what they were doing. And so they didn't understand, because over there in these other countries, you don't work, you don't eat. You can't go. Right. I got a food pantry up the street here from me, and I mean, people drive their cars there. When I'm in Guatemala, the people that are hungry, you can tell they're hungry because they're thin, and there's no food pantry. I mean, it's just. People don't realize, and you've been out of the countries, but people don't realize we live in paradise here and they don't even know it. This is paradise.
That's true. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. As you mentioned, like in other countries, if you don't work, you don't eat. Right. So, they don't have those, they don't have those programs for like WIC and things like that. There's none of there's none of that like in these in these countries. So the United States is like States is paradise.
Something else people bash people for traveling far. They'll say, well, then women just want your money. They want a green card. I'll tell you something else. Women from other countries and people from other countries, they love their country. The only reason they will leave is if they got to come here and work or they need the money to support their family.
Hold on a minute, Mark. Hey, Mark, hold on. I need you to say that statement all over again because because there's that big common misconception. Please start that sentence all over again, please.
Okay. What I know, a lot of people think that these women from other countries just want to get a green card and come over here and live. Well, these women love their country more than you can imagine, more than anybody here. You hear them people, and the men do too. They'll talk about their country with a love that maybe people used to do here 100 years ago. And they will come here if they got to work to make money to send money back to their family. And a lot of times what will happen, I learned this the hard way, but if you marry someone from a third world country, they need you to help their family because they don't have Social Security. They don't have that. Those families depend on the kids to help their parents when they get older. So if you marry one from another country, it would be wise of you, and it doesn't take much, to help her family out with a couple $100 a month or whatever. And that's not, people here just don't get it because we have so much abundance and freedom. People over there, I don't know how to explain it, because you marry the family. Those families live together with cousins and uncles and brothers, really for financial, and they all help each other. So if you marry that woman, she's obligated to help her family. So if you don't want her to work, then you need to help her family out because you're part of the family there. It has nothing to do with, oh, they just want your money. That's just the way the structure is there. That's the way they live for hundreds of years. And it's, so I learned that kind of the hard way, because with the wife that I was married to from another country, looking back in retrospect, I probably caused some resentment to her family because I didn't help them, because I'm from this country and, we're a nuclear family. We separate. Well, they got their own, but I didn't really understand. They need that because they'll be out on the street if the kids don't help them.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the reason why I asked you to repeat that, Mark, is because, as you mentioned, like there's this big common misconception that, these women just want your money. They just want your green card. But here's the thing. Like, and we both know Colombia, Medellin well, right? So the thing is, like, let's say something that costs, let's say you go out to a restaurant. A restaurant here in the States is going to be, let's say, anywhere, a nice restaurant, 5-star or something. We talking what, 200, 200 plus, depending on where you at. In Medellin, you may be spending maybe 40, 50 at most.
It's great, man. I tell you what, I went down there quite a bit before I went to Paris, and Paris about did me. And when I got over there and I was been there a day or two, I thought I got to quit worrying about money, or I'm gonna have a terrible time, because it was night and day. I mean, it's expensive over there compared to the States and compared down south of Colombia.
Right.
Yeah, it's great. You can have, I mean, they got good food there. You get a steak and some vegetables. It's just on a white tablecloth. It's like it's beautiful, beautiful meal and good price.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let me get to some of these comments here, because I only have a few, but absolutely. I wanted you to repeat that because I'm definitely going to clip that what you had said about the whole green card thing, man. But please make sure that you do subscribe to my guest channel right here. There's the link for Mark's channel. He definitely has a very interesting story. Knowledge and Relationship M3, salute to you. Hello. Good morning. Shout out to the Philippines in the building. Oh, that's you right there. XL Pro checking in. Okay. Thank you, Culture Invasion. Okay, so you put it there. Big Sean TV's in the building. All right, so you got a new subscriber there. Police are reactive, not proactive. They clean up the mess after it happens. Okay. He was talking about when you were in Guatemala and Honduras.
Yeah,
that was back then. Mrs. She said, "Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you, sister." Jay Fleming is in the building. I appreciate you. Okay, the volume was a little bit low. Yeah, sorry about that. It's a little low. Okay. But hopefully you guys were able to hear what he was saying. Basically, what Mark was saying was that It's not like the men can't get the woman. It's the quality of the woman. That's the problem. Poolman 313, shout out to Detroit. How's everyone doing? All good. Let's see here. Oh man, yeah. So they loving what you're saying. They say talk to them, Mark. Let them know, man. Your preference is your preference. QB passport strengthened. True facts, Mark. Yep, absolutely. Coach Invasion says, Mark, you're a cool dude. Yes, he is a cool dude. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna clip it. Don't worry. Let's see here. Okay, so Sean C says, shout out to you, TSG Uncut. My plan has always been to tell them I'll give them $200 for the rest of the parent's life as long as my woman stays loyal and cooperative.
Let me comment on that. What I want to say about that is some people from the States, women probably, would look at that and think, well, see, you're just buying her. But how many women here in the States would even think about being with a guy if he said, well, I'll give you $200 a month to be loyal? It's not that, and I'm just using that, that's not really what you would say, but what woman is going to marry you here or stay with you if you don't get up and provide a good income?
Right.
And, I mean, so it gets misconstrued a lot of times by people over here because I think they're looking for something to attack. They just don't understand. People need to get out of the States because they live in a bubble here until it really broadens your view of the world.
Right.
80% or 85% of the people don't live like we do here.
Right.
I mean, what is it? 70% of the people don't even have toilet paper. We had a fit over toilet paper when that the illness thing started with. Oh my God, everybody was running to get toilet paper like they couldn't survive without it. I mean, we have such a cushy society.
No, absolutely. But you want to know what's interesting. You want to know what's interesting. And I'll say a little joke, but I understand what you're getting at. So the shelves didn't have any toilet paper, but they were full with soap.
Yeah.
That let that marinate. I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. So there's no toilet paper, but there's a bunch of soap.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just, yeah. But yeah, I agree because people could read into Sean C comment and think that it's an I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, like he's buying her or something. But yet, what woman here would stay with you for $200 a month? I mean,
first of all, I think what $200 is like getting her hair done or something like that once a month or whatever the case is.
Yeah, nails or whatever. But see, because if you want to bring her here or if you want to be with her and you don't want her to work, her family needs her.
Yeah.
She has to, I mean, just like my dad needed me for those 4 years, and my mom needed me for that month while she passed away, in the house there.
Yeah.
They needed me, and I was able to do that. So, yeah, and we'll take it. I want to make another point about when people start bad-mouthing passport bros, say they don't have game. It doesn't have anything. I mean, some people have game, some people don't, but it doesn't. Maybe you don't want to catch. Here's the deal. If I want to catch salmon, I can't go over to the lake here at the park and catch salmon. I can catch some perch, but I don't want to eat perch. I want to eat salmon because it's better. So if I want to get a different type of woman, if I want to get a more feminine, traditional woman, the United States is not the place to fish for that. So if I try to get that here, I better go to the Amish community, the Mennonites, or the Mormons. But then they're not going to accept me because that's a whole different type of religion or whatever.
Yep.
The chances of you, or maybe some of the Pentecostal churches you might find, but then if you're not into that, so it's so different now from when I was younger. Women have forgotten how to take care of a man. I mean, my first girlfriend, I went out with her from 15 to 21, and she come from a stable Catholic family. She would cook for me, and she'd buy me clothes, and she was a beautiful girl. And she made me a photo album, and then one of my ex-wives took it later on down through the years. But and I still and she had been with maybe one or two guys before me. And then the guy, when I broke up with her because I wanted to date other girls and I was feeling guilty because I'd started boxing, I quit drinking, so I couldn't cheat and lie. She married the next guy she's with. She's been married to him ever since. So I forget about what women used to do, because a lot of women, this is what it seems to me, I could be wrong. A lot of women now think all they have to do is offer their body. I mean, the beauty in their body, and that's all. You know as well as I do, I don't care how beautiful a girl is. If that's all she's got to offer, that gets old after about 3 to 6 months, if not quicker.
Yeah, quicker, absolutely, and especially if men are used to getting it. And the thing is that typically men who have the means and are able to travel consistently, typically these are usually men who are able to get women. So like if if all you have to do is offer your body, and especially like the older we get, the more mature that we are, right? So like like if we're like in our 20s or something like that, that may work. The timeline gets long, it's longer. But the older and more mature we get, the more impatient we get when it comes to things like that, because it's like, okay, this is all you can offer. So the phrase, "Oh, I am the table." No, you're not.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you like you say something like that. It's just like it's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah, the arrogance. Yeah. Well, that reminds me of something. When I was in Guatemala, I had a brothel. I ran a brothel, okay? And the young man would come in there, maybe a 20-year-old. He'd come in there, get a girl, go to the back rooms, in there 5 minutes, he'd come out and leave. Okay. The older men in their 40s would come in there, sit down with girls, and drink with them for 2 or 3 hours and leave. And a lot of them was married. That's what they would do. They wanted the companionship.
Right.
That's the difference. They very seldom ever went to the back room, if they even did. They just wanted to sit and talk to a girl. And that's why they came there. And of course, the girls made money on the drinks, because whatever, they get a percentage of the drinks. So there was never any sex, but they would make money sitting there drinking with the guys.
Right. Yeah.
That's what the older guys wanted. But the young guys, when you're in your 20s, a lot of times you just want to go jump in the sack with some girl. But when you get older, you start looking at things a little differently.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. When you've been around the block a few times, it's like, all right, you know what? Like, I know what's up now. So it's all good. Hold on, let me go to some more comments here. What's going on, gents? K&D, yeah, said it too. Yep, absolutely, man. I understand the dynamic. That's why I understand the dynamic. That's why I would help the family. I don't understand how modern women say that cooking is slavery, and how a lot of them only know how to microwave.
Slavery. I want to address that. What difference is it? What difference is that than me going out and working and slaving away out there and coming home and paying for everything, supporting the house, supporting the kids, supporting the wife, and all that? What's the difference? I mean, if you want to look at it that way, if that's your perception, then we're both slaves. I would rather say we're both servants. We serve each other in the best way possible.
Right. Yeah. That's it's always a one-sided argument, and then it's like, or something like that is said, and then you give pushback, and then as you mentioned earlier, it's like, oh, you're being like misogynistic or whatever the case is, and it's like, no, like we don't require the same things. The things that you think that I expect out of you is what you actually expect out of me. Like when like typically nowadays you ask a woman, okay, well, what qualities do you have? I'm competitive. I'm competitive. I'm a hard worker, and it's like, all right, no. Like,
I don't care. I don't care about your degrees. I don't care about how much money you make. I don't care.
Right, exactly.
How well can you take care of me and my household? Can you make my house a home?
Yep.
Can you take care of my kids? Can you make my home a place of peace when I come in from work? Do you know how to treat me? Do you know when I come home from work, I want you to just leave me alone for a little while so I can unwind? Then we can talk. Are you going to be asking me, oh, let's go out, let's go do something all the time? I mean, can you make my life better.
Right.
And as you make my life better, this is what a lot of them don't understand. If you make my life better, I do better out there. And guess what? The more success I have out there, guess who that runs down on?
Right.
You're more successful.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, the big problem is, I think, is motherhood and housewife and being a good woman is belittled. It's not admired for what the value it actually has. And I guess we could blame, I don't know, maybe the government figuring out that two people being taxed is better than one or whatever, but it's just not given the recognition that it deserves.
Right.
It's almost demonized. Like, oh, what do you stay home for? Don't you work? I've taken care of the kids. It's a 24-hour day, 7-day a week job. No sick days, no days off. No congrat. I mean, kids, until they get older, they don't really appreciate what you do for them.
No, absolutely true.
So it's a thankless task unless you have a husband who's showing you appreciation by going out and working his butt off and making your. I mean, isn't it great what feminism has done for women? Now they can go out and work for the man and, put themselves out on OnlyFans and do all this stuff and get money from men. And they've really helped out, hasn't it?
Right. Absolutely. And it's so funny because it's like, you hear this. So, like, I don't need a man and all that.
I don't need no man.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but when the Titanic is falling, who are you calling?
Yeah.
Who are you calling?
Yeah, I didn't see the women wanting to let the men get out.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's just very, very funny, man.
I mean, women are valuable.
Oh, absolutely.
For thousands of years, men have given their lives in wars while the women and children stayed home to protect them. I don't know why women look back. Oh, women were so oppressed. The men were out there getting killed so they could be oppressed. They were out there fighting on the battlefield so they could come home and oppress their wife. Yeah.
Right. Yep. I agree. Yep. Definitely. It's very interesting. Let me see here. QB passport flexing. Don't need game with a passport. You want to address that or no?
So he's saying that you don't need game if you got a passport.
Yeah.
You can get taken advantage of anywhere. I mean, there's women out there in other countries that can take you to the cleaners. It doesn't. You got to have some. The only difference is when you travel somewhere else, you're going to find more feminine, more traditional women. But there's still the scammers out there. They're out there. I mean, you got to. If you go out there, and I just read what I was reading about that Escopola. Some guy went down there and he met some girl on Tinder, and of course he ended up dead because they gave him that. So he got played. You can't just go to these countries and walk around looking up in the sky at all the tourist sites, because I guarantee you you gotta have a game about women, you gotta have a game about life, you gotta be wary, because it's more dangerous, it is. So you gotta have some awareness. Because there are people that's going to take advantage of you no matter where you go. But you guys just use a little common sense. I can go down there to St. Louis, get mugged and robbed if I go to the wrong place. So it's no different than that. Or I can go down there and find someone that's going to take advantage of you. You just got to use some common sense. And really, that's what game. Everybody has different levels of game. I don't really want, to be honest, I don't want to play the game that I know how to play, because that's not going to get me what I want.
Right.
I want to find somebody. I talked about it earlier, and you might have mentioned it too. One of the reasons that I became complacent, and when you're married, if you're married to a Western woman or a woman that becomes a Western woman, if you're not constantly on your toes, which I don't think a man should have to be,
right,
then she's going to get bored with you. And I don't really want to deal with that crap. It's too much work.
Right.
If you got a good woman, she appreciates you, and you don't have to be trying to play the alpha male and then being a little bit of a provider, but not too much of this and too much of that. And some people say you got to become that man, but if you get a woman that appreciates you and still respects men, she's going to appreciate a good, steady guy who goes to work, who comes home every night, who's not an alcoholic or a drug addict, who loves his kids and loves her and does what he's supposed to do. And then that's all the game you got to have. But here in the States, you got to have a little more game in that. And I think a lot of it has to do because social media and these simps out there give these girls a false sense of importance or value. And they think they always got something else better, as where women in other countries are grateful to get a good man who's going to take care of them and provide for them. Women here think there's always one out there that's a little bit better because I got him in my DMs. Not all women, but I think that's and that gives them a false sense of value.
Right. Well, yeah. So, question. So, do you believe that false sense of value? So, I'm of the belief, and I believe that you are as well. But I want to hear your response to this. So, do you believe that women nowadays are vastly confusing intention with attention?
Yeah, I think so. Well, like I said, last girl I dated, she's from Colombia, but she's got like 23,000 followers on Instagram, and she's got guys in her DMs offering her money to go here and money to go there. Mm-hmm. But who are these people, and would they really do it? And if they did do it, what do they want? So you never know what they're. To find somebody you can trust as a woman, a woman's got to trust a man. She can't just go off here or there or somewhere with some guy she doesn't know, because she may never come back. So they get that attention, mm-hmm. but it's not that. But the value of that attention, or the validity, I guess. What kind of people are these? What we got now too is we've always had simps, but they never had a platform. They had to go up to a girl and talk to her personally to say something to her, like, I like this, or I think you, and they wouldn't do it because they're afraid of rejection. But now they just sit behind the buffer of social media and hit a like or say, oh, you're so beautiful. And they send these hard eyes. And of course, a woman thinks, oh God, I got 100 guys telling me I posted this picture and I'm beautiful. And so you got women that are 4s or 5s and they think they're 10s because it is. Post a picture of yourself doing something cool, you'll get a few likes. Some girl is not that good looking, posts a photo with the short shorts on, and she gets 100 likes in 5 minutes.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think yes, they're confusing attention with intention. They're confusing those two things.
Right. Exactly. I agree. Let's see here. Facts. Companionship is huge as you get older. Let's see here. Okay. Right, Mark. A lot of men don't know how to cook and are willing to help around the house. This is the way it used to be back in the day.
Yeah, women could really cook. And it's not just cooking. It's just the fact that they want to cook. See, there's an old saying, you've probably heard it. A way to a man's heart is,
through his stomach.
Through his stomach. Now it's kind of a joke, but there's a lot of truth to that. But it's not so much the food; it's just the idea that she does that because she loves him.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
How nice is it? How nice is it to come home from work and have a hot meal waiting for you? It's not just the food, or to have your wife make your lunch for you, or to put your shoes on for you. My God, they'll have a fit over that one. But my wife in Guatemala, when we first started going out before she came up here and got Americanized, she would and it was partly my fault because I wouldn't let her do things. She would want to put my shoes on for, I'll do it myself. Now that's a mistake. You need to allow a woman to invest in you, but I made, that was a mistake I made. But the point is, those things, it's not just the cooking or her doing this, she's doing that. She invests in you, and that makes you feel important and loved. And that's the one thing women, I'll say, from the Americas, the South Americas, they know how to build up a man's ego. And guess what? Ego is not a bad thing. It can be, but a man with a strong ego can go out there and conquer the world. If his woman makes him feel like a man, he can go out there and do a lot more than if she's beating him down and complaining and telling him he's nothing, he can't do this. I mean, so there you go. She literally, see, women talk about they want the same power as men. They have that power in femininity, but it's been belittled here. That woman can make that man go to the stars, or she can drag him down to the depths of hell. She has the power to do that. If he stays with, or unless he leaves her.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you hear stories, and I've seen this actually, where I've been out with friends, throughout the years, or associates, what have you, and then like could be a gathering where food is going to be served or whatever, and then like a woman will be serving, her husband, boyfriend, her love interest a plate, and like the other woman would kind of like give her a look like, like, why are you serving this man a plate? Like, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah. Let me tell you something happened to me the other day. My son, he's got a woman up here, and of course she's pregnant, and they were having a gender reveal party. So I went out. There was a lot of people there, maybe 50. I didn't know anybody. I was talking to people there, and they got the food ready, and so I'm kind of looking around there, and she said, "Well, you want me to get you a plate?" His girlfriend, "You want me to get you a plate?" I said, "Sure." You know how many brownie points that girl made with me doing that?
Yeah.
Just that. She offered and went and got me a plate. See, and that's such a small thing, but to a man, that is so important.
Right.
Women don't realize, and the problem I think with women here in the States is, in the West, they're trying to be like men and how do I say, have power like men, but they're out of their element. Their power is femininity.
Right.
But it's been belittled, but it's such an awesome power. Look at the pages of history. How was it? Mark Antony, Napoleon. When they were with a good woman, things were going good. When they got messed up with the wrong woman, their kingdoms start falling apart. And you can look throughout history. There's several great leaders that happened to. So there you go. These were powerful men who had maybe rulers of the known world at the time. Helen of Troy. I don't know if that's just a myth or not, but there's one right there. What happened? They have so much power, but they don't have it as being masculine, acting like a man, and they never will. That's my belief.
Yeah, they're using they're using the wrong weapons.
Yeah,
that's the problem. They're using the wrong weapons, and it's like this weapon isn't working for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're coming to a gunfight with a knife.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, they've just been programmed to believe that their femininity is weak, and it's not. I mean, history tells us a different story, and I've experienced it. I mean, when a woman serves you, what do you want to do for her? You want to do for her, and that's been one of my mistakes in the past. Is there's called the 2/3 rule. You ever heard of that? For every
I believe so. But keep going.
For every 2/3 that your woman does for you, you do a third for her. And I believe that's true, because in my marriages and my last relationships, when a woman makes me happy, maybe she wanted something, talked about it, I want to do something for her, and I have a tendency to do too much. And what happens is women's nature, their innate nature is when a man does too much, or more than she thinks he should, or more than she feels like she's done for him, she sees that, I believe, as approval seeking, and she loses a little respect for you. I'm not saying you can't do nice things for them, but you really don't want to do more for them than they do for you, even if you feel like it, because women are more emotionally motivated and driven than men are, so they don't think logically, and that's where men have a lot of problems. They think, why is she doing this? I treated her this way, and they're not men. They don't think like you do.
Right, exactly.
They don't think the same, so you can't operate like that with a woman. I mean, I've been with women when it's their time of the month, and they'll tell me, don't pay any attention to me. It's my time of the month. It's my days. That's what the last one. These are my days. And then they'll say some crazy stuff, and so they know they're emotional, and they need a man who's stable, who's not going to be moved by that, who can weather her emotional storms. And that's what they look for, not some guy who's going to be, upset every time she throws a little fit or whatever. I mean, that's just the way they are. Like my daughter, she can come up here, she wants something. I tell her I'm not going to get it for her. She may slam the door, walk out, make some smart remark. I don't pay any attention to her. She comes back every 5 minutes later, acts like nothing ever happened. Yeah, and that's the way women are. You just got to just let them go and have their experience.
Right.
I'm not saying you should not take them seriously, but there's times when you need to take them seriously and times when you just need to say, this is the way it is, and walk away or allow them to walk out the door. And you should always, I don't care who it is, what woman, you should always be able to walk away if you have to. And she wants to know you can do that. She doesn't want to think that if something happens to her, that you're going to fall apart. Why would she have kids with a man like that? Why would she have kids with a man who couldn't make it without her? But too many men nowadays listen to the love songs, and you just tell me what they say. I can't live without your love. Living with that, I mean, they just go on, and a lot of guys.
No, it's bad. It's bad. You know,
and we've all felt that way. I'm not saying it's wrong to feel that way, but you can't act on that because women, they just don't feel safe with a man like that.
No.
That's not what they want. I mean, I've had my wives ask me, say, what would you do if something happened to me? I said, well, I'd be sad, but I'd go on. And would you marry again? Well, I probably would. Oh, and they act like they're pissed off, but that's the answer they want to hear. That's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear, well, I don't know if I could make it or not. I don't know. I don't want to think. No, that's not, they may get mad at you when you tell them to be fine and you go on, but that's what they feel more secure with you like that than if you tell them the other.
Right.
And men, so many men don't understand that because they grow up on TV, social media, and think that women want to be treated like, what is the old saying? Treat a woman like a queen, she'll treat you like a servant. Treat her like a star, she'll treat you like a fan. There's a lot of truth to those sayings. Mm-hmm.
Very true. Very, very true. And it's so interesting that like those sayings hold true to this day. And I don't want to get too much into like religion or anything like that, but whatever people believe in, but whatever higher power people believe in, whether it be you read the Bible, the Quran, or what have you, but the things that they say in there still holds true, no matter to this day, no matter what.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not, and here's the deal. Some women may look at that like, oh, you're bad-mouthing women. You don't think much of them. You don't want to treat them. It's not that at all. As I said earlier, I've stood up. I've dropped guys because they disrespected my woman, knocked them down on the ground, got them by the throat. I mean, because of things they did that was very when a woman's with me, nobody's going to hurt her unless they get through me. So how much more can I honor a woman than that? And of course, a lot of people that live in this protected society think, oh, God, what is he talking like that for? They don't realize what it's like in some parts of the world where you actually have to. If you grow up in these cookie cutter neighborhoods where where the grass is perfect and the police are going through there every half hour and they'll get there in 5 minutes, you don't understand how it can be out there in the street. Well, you grew up in a bad neighborhood, so you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, so I'm not talking about disrespecting women. I'm talking about respecting women to the point where if you're with me, they're going to have to delete me to get to you. And
exactly.
I've been in that position many times in my life, and I don't hesitate to do that.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, that's the ultimate respect. You putting your life on the line.
Yeah, but in return, I want a woman who respects me and takes care of my needs and my children's needs. Right. And if she doesn't, then I'm walking. And I've walked away before, and it's not easy for a man to walk away. And I'll tell you something else. You can't communicate with women. A lot of times you can't do it directly. You kind of got to do it. You can tell them something over and over again, but until you actually take action, they're really not going to believe you.
Right.
So women don't communicate directly. You can have a nice talk. And that's something women, and especially in the West, will talk. Well, it's all about communication. Yes, there's some truth in that, but it's not what you say. I mean, you can tell a woman, look, if you don't start respecting me, I'm going to leave you. It won't do any good unless you start taking some action, like maybe going to the gym in the evening. All of a sudden, you're not around for her to talk to. I think they call that a soft next. You don't have to leave her. But if you don't start withdrawing your attention and getting busy doing something else, she doesn't get the fact that if she keeps this up, you're going to leave. And what will happen, and King Dre talks about this, her level of disrespect will get higher and higher. And we'll get to the point, we've seen this, where she'll be hitting on you out in public if you allow this to go on without checking. The women here in the West, and I'm sure there's women in other parts of the world that will do it too. We have a lot of that now.
I mean, well, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, but what I was gonna say was, I was gonna say, like, we would call those, there's no other way. I was trying to say without cursing, but shit tests, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So there's different levels of shit tests, and no matter where in the world you are, women are gonna shit test you. Like my ex in Medellin, she shit tested me. I mean, nowhere near someone here, in the States, but like she gave me, she would shit test me, and sometimes the shit test would be like inadvertent. But if you don't pass it, or like it can, things can roll downhill, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Like as you mentioned, where like if a guy says, hey, you know what, like if you continue this bad behavior, like I'm gonna walk, and you have to hold true to your threat. Because once you put that information out there as a man, you got to stand tall on that. Yeah. And if you don't stand tall on that, that woman's going to keep disrespecting you, and the disrespect is going to elevate. And then you know what happens? The man pops, and then next thing you know, he's in cuffs or it gets bad. So once you put that information out there, say, hey, listen, if you're going to keep doing this, I'm going to walk. You got to stand on that.
Yeah, that's what I did last. Yeah,
sorry,
I was gonna say I went through the same thing with a girl from Medellin too. I walk, and I'm gonna tell you what, if you do walk, and I've walked away from probably the last 3 or 4 of them, they'll come back. They all come back if you walk with your pear in your hand. I'm trying to quit cussing too. I've been working on that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I know what you mean.
But if you walk with your pear in your hand, I mean, it's about 6 months later she came back, but yeah, let me tell you a funny story about a crap test I didn't pass. Now,
you know what? That's what I should have said crap test, but
I
was trying to find the word, but I was like, in order for him to understand what I'm saying, I just gotta say the word. But yeah.
So I was in Medellin, and the doors on the cars down there are a little thinner. So when I shut the door, it kind of sounds like it slams.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, she said something to me once about it, and I'm like, I didn't slam the door. Well, then a few days later, or next time I went down there or something, I shut the door and it slammed, and she said, looked at me, he slammed that door again. What I should have done was say, so, and just walked on. But I'm like, I didn't slam it. He didn't say anything about it. I even tried not to slam. I just shut it easy. But looking back, that was a crap test. Looking back in retrospect, I didn't realize that at the time but really as a man, you're like, so, or you just, so what? But that's what they do. They're subtle sometimes you don't pick up on them.
Right.
But that's what that was. That was a test to see if I would care, if I would react to how she acted. I mean, and there's other ones, but that was just one of them because I don't know if that's a big deal down there, but I know the doors are they just, up here, nobody ever says anything about it, but
well, because you know what? Because the cars are, the cars are smaller. So so over here the car doors are a bit thicker, you know what I mean? Because like I have so one of my good friends, he drives me around, anytime when I'm around, pick me up, whatever, and he's like, I mean, he's used to it now, but at first he kind of got annoyed, and I'm like, trust me, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He's like, no, that's all good, man.
Yeah, the point was the last time I didn't slam the door, see, and she knew it, and I knew it, but I tried to convince her that I did. See, that was a test, but I failed by trying to convince her that I didn't do it by arguing with her. So you never want to argue with a woman. So I failed a lot of them tests, and I talked about that on my page there. I talked about failing, but I heard one time that when a guy goes to look, I don't know what that was, when a guy interviews someone for a job, in a lot of businesses, they'll ask them about their failures because you learn more from your failures than you do from your successes. I know I have. And if you're not failing, you're not trying. I mean,
I agree.
You've got to get out there. And so many people are afraid to fail. And let's back up to school. What do they teach you in school? That it's bad to fail. You get an F, you take it home, you show your parents, you're embarrassed, you're ashamed. And that's actually opposite of what is true. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than the people who aren't successful. Babe Ruth,
Right.
and you could go on and on about the people who fail.
Yep.
What is it that Henry Ford said? Failure is just another opportunity to begin again. You only fail if you don't get back up and start over, if you don't try again. That's the only failure. You just got to get up and try again.
Yeah, hold on. Give me one moment. Let's see here. Let me get back to some of these comments. Okay, so Culture Invasion says we don't care about their accomplishment. Accomplish a meal, accomplish a household. Feminism is perfect capitalism if you think about it. Let's see. The mindset being opposite to men in charge of spending and being frugal. Okay. Wow, you guys were going for a while. Really, dude? You funny, man. Let's see. I'm trying to focus on the men's conversation. Yep, simps are poison. Definitely they are. Intentions versus attentions versus attention. I'm stealing that. Yeah, man, you could definitely steal that, man. Let's see. You guys are having the comments. Okay, so you guys hold on. Oh, wait, hold on, let me go back. True at Mark. I initiated the divorce with both of my exes because they were soul suckers. Sometimes you have to pay for a peace of mind. Love my life how it is now.
Yeah, that's true. What I would add to that is when you want to find out why you were attracted, what is it in you that brought you to those people, and what is the lesson there for you? It's easy to say the lesson is, well, just don't end up with those kind of girls, but there's something that girl was there to teach you. Probably besides the fact that you don't need to be with girls, you're attracted to that type of woman. Maybe she wasn't like that when you first met her, but there's something there. So it really, the best thing I think men can do is look, I understand you want to blame, and they do have their faults. I mean, it's not, but you can't change them, but you can change yourself and ask yourself, what is it that I'm needing to learn from this, or what is this here to teach me? And then that way you won't end up doing the same thing the next time. And you can catch those clues because there's always red flags or things. I think sometimes what happens to people, or it's happened to me, you get with a girl and once you start having sex with her, you start, maybe you'll overlook things because she makes you feel good. And you see some red flags, but you kind of let it go, or you make excuses for her. And that's where you wouldn't if maybe you weren't, if you weren't physically involved with her, or if you had other girls you were dating. So it's just, if we don't learn from what's happened to us, we're bound to repeat it again. There's a lesson in everything. And they say sometimes the person that hurts you or treats you the worst is your best teacher. And I believe that's true. We just have to get the word blame out of our vocabulary, because we can't change what they do, but we can change what we do.
Big facts. That's very, very true.
Now, that's not to say they don't have, if a girl's out cheating on you, you may have allowed it to get to that point, but that's not, that's not good. That's wrong of her to do that if you're both in a relationship where you've agreed to be monogamous. So that's not to say that it's okay the things they did, because people do things that are hurtful and wrong.
Right. No, I agree. What the funk is this? What's up, Jay? He says, I was like, I'm surprised to grow old with this woman, right? I can't grow old with her. Wait, hold on. I was surprised to grow old with this woman, right? I can't grow old with her energy or her version of how she shows love.
Yeah, that's a good point because last girl I was with had a different way of showing love, which didn't seem like it was love to me. So, but looking, if you look back on these people's, if you know anything about their family, sometimes it's good to find out something about their family. You'll find out that's where they learn, because when a kid grows up, if he's got a mom or dad, however they are, even let's say the mom and dad are hitting on each other, that's what he thinks love is. That's the type of relationship that he's going to be. How many times does a woman give with a man who hits on her and then she gets out of that and she gets with another one? She probably grew up with parents that fought like that. So that's her idea of what love is. And they carry that into their adult relationships until they do some work and look within and you know, because they always want to blame the guy in those situations. And guys a lot of times want to blame the women instead of saying, hey, why, a woman, for example, why do I end up with guys that treat me this way?
Right.
Well, what is it that attracts you to those guys? How have you gotten to that point? I'm all about inner game, because that's where it begins. If you don't have an inner game, you don't have anything on the outside.
Very, very true. Messiah says, salute KND. Appreciate the awareness you're speaking of. In the manosphere, keep up the great work. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Exactly. Beauty has an expiration date.
Yeah.
Having a woman that is a true support system, feminine, and is on a man's program and is a godsend, pardon me. And if she isn't, then she will drag a man to hell.
True.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I tell you what else happens in life sometimes. If you're a successful man, you'll meet women that admire you for that. And they want to be with you, okay, because you're successful. And maybe you'll get together with them, you start going out and you're dating. What happens is they don't really want to do what they have to do to be with a successful man. They just want to ride your coattails. And of course, that'll drag you down. So what happens is they want the benefits of a successful man. But when let's say you guys live together, you get married. When they find out that they have to get up and do the same thing every day, over and over, day in, day out, for months, for years, they don't want any of that. They just want the benefits. That's what happens. See, So you will find that the more successful you become, these women are drawn to you, but you got to vet them because they will end up, they may be good for a while, but as you know, I don't know how long you've been on the YouTube channel, but you've done things in your life. Sometimes you do it day in, day out for years before you ever see any results.
Oh yeah,
that's
absolutely. I mean, yeah. So I'm coming into my second year, and so what a lot of people don't know about YouTube is that typically I want to say I forget the number, but it's a low number where people actually reach over 1,000 subscribers. Like usually it takes people about 4 to 5 years to reach 1,000 subscribers.
Well, I'm feeling better then because I got about 1,680 and I'm coming into my third year, so I was starting to get a little. But once in a while,
you got to remember there's like what, billions of people on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know, and the thing is that like the content that we're talking about is not for everyone to be able to stomach.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I was talking about, like just like sports or, just, like fun entertainment stuff, I'm sure I could probably, crack 10, 15,000 easy. But the thing
amazing,
is, but the thing is, we're talking, men-centric topics, and it's it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable for some men to hear, because like they have to look within themselves, and it's like, man, like, I was a simp half my life. Wow. Because based on what they're saying, it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. And then also some of the ladies that that may come and watch, and they like it's a tough pill for them to swallow as well.
Yeah, it's well, everybody wants to believe in the Disney fairy tale and Prince Charming or Sleeping Beauty, and that all sounds good, but that's not realistic, and that's not the way life really is. It doesn't mean it has to be something terrible, but the reality is what it is, and you have to accept. I'm a believer in creating your future, visualization. Your thoughts create your world, but you have to begin with reality. I mean, that's just the way it is. I can't build a house out of diamonds. So we have, and that's what men need to realize is women are women. Don't be angry at them. You don't think women sit around and badmouth men for the way men do this? Sure they do, and I don't care. That's okay. But women just have their characteristics, and thanks God they're not like men. I mean, wouldn't that be boring?
Right. Yeah.
So why don't you learn what it's like in the land of women and accept them for how they are and just deal with that? The same as you have to accept other things in the world. You're not going to change them, but change yourself, not to cater to them, but adjust your thinking in your life. So, and I'm not a believer in going out there and making your whole life about getting women. I believe quite the opposite. If you want women, go out there and make your life about living your life with that dream that you have inside of you. I believe everybody's got one in there, but they push it down because they logically figured out there's no way they can do it, but it keeps coming up. Until you go chasing that and do what you really want to do, regardless of the risk, you're not going to be fulfilled as a man. And the joy is in the journey. If you think you're going to get to that goal and you're going to be happy and that's it, I'm telling you, I've been to a lot of goals. You're going to be sadly mistaken, because that'll last about a day or maybe a couple days, and that elation will leave. It's the journey. It's the people you meet, the relationships, the experiences, the good and the bad ones. And when you sit back, I'll be 63 this year, and you look back on your life, I went through all that stuff, the divorces, the custodies. They tried to throw me in jail, had to leave the country for 6 years, had to leave that country. I could tell you stories. And it was terrible at the time, but looking back on it, I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I have a wonderful life, and I can look back at that, look at the photo of my kids there with me on the wall, and I get a fulfillment, a feeling, and I still go out there and work hard every day in my business. I love what I do. You don't get that from getting laid. I don't care how beautiful a woman is. You get that from being a man and doing what men do, just like you're doing tonight, and just like I'm doing tonight, pursuing your vision, your dream. It's not, we're not chasing women tonight. I love women, but we're not chasing women. We're chasing our vision. We're chasing our dream. And that's where fulfillment comes from. It doesn't come from a relationship with a woman.
Right. Absolutely. I think speaking of children, I think you might have one of them in the chat.
Oh, one of my kids in there? My daughter, Pauline. She's probably getting on me. I said I wasn't going to be on the. Oh yeah, there she is. Or no, where's she at?
She says, "Go, Dad, whoop whoop."
Oh, okay, yeah. I got a 16-year-old daughter, and don't you know I teach her that to value herself.
Hold on. She says something else. I don't know if you can see that. Coming with a girl, we do bad mouth men and women. Obviously, I'm not proud of it, but it happens.
Oh yeah. She's got a good head on her shoulders.
Is that the one that did the reaction to Andrew Tate?
Yeah, that's her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she got somebody posted that on TikTok, got like almost 1 million views, and I don't know how many. Yeah.
Oh wow!
No, wait, that was one. I don't know if it was a reaction. We did one. We got about 5,000 on YouTube, and somebody clipped it and put it on TikTok and got about 1 million views on it.
There we go.
Yeah. So
nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she has a hard time. If you ever listen to some of the podcasts, half the guys she meets, they start out strong and they turn out being simps. I mean, and they want to date her. They got to come here and meet me and the boys. They got to shake my hand. And one of the questions I asked them is this, and only one guy answered correctly. I said, "What are you going to do if you're out and somebody comes up and gets in my daughter's face?" Well, a couple of them said, "Well, I don't know. We'll leave," or this. One of them said, "I'm gonna punch him." I said, there you go. That's the answer I'm looking for. You're going to protect
He
her.
said we're gonna leave.
Because she's not with me. You got to protect her.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I make them meet me. And it's just because when I was dating, when I was younger, there were girls I dated that had dads, active fathers. I didn't sleep with them because they had a father. I mean, because it was, and I didn't like them. I was just wanting to be with them to have sex. And I didn't. There was a couple of girls like that because they had a good father, a good mother. And I respected the father for me. That's how I was. But it was now other girls that didn't have a father around. They were sleeping around anyway. I'd sleep with them. It's just a man. There's just something about that. So I think it's very important if you have daughters to make yourself known when young men are coming around to date your daughters. Important.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It's just something different because like especially like when the father is active, like girls that I would talk to, in my younger days, I don't know, for some reason like I felt like I couldn't do that to her father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's something there between men, I think. I don't really know how to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I know exactly what you mean. Let's see here.
I know I talk a lot about fighting here, but it's not like I just love fighting, but it isn't like I haven't had my butt handed to me a few times in my life. I'll tell you that. So, but it's just something I've enjoyed. Sure. The boys are fighting. My son, Henry, had his first amateur fight, and he stopped the guy in the second round, TKO, and then they're both fighting in the gloves next week. So,
nice.
I never told them to fight. They just copy. They see me through the years, and they do it. They work out.
Yep. So
that's something else too. If you have kids, for the people in the chat, more truth is caught than taught. They watch they copy what you do. It's the old apple don't fall far from the tree. That's true. And it works for the good and the bad. So you want your kids to see it.
Yeah.
You want to think about it. You want your daughter dating somebody like you? Well, if not, then you need to be a different person.
That's true. Let's see it. Jay's funny. He said we need to hire Kings a comment moderator so he can keep up with the comments. Oh man, let's see here. It makes people not want to comment during the lives. It makes them lose interest. They'll be all right. Let's see here. Really, that's a good info for my lives too. Yeah, hey Jay, man, you might want to apply for the job. Okay, so hold on. All right, so TSG Uncut says that's right. I did learn why I was attracted to them. Now those type of women I'm attracted to are no longer. Hold on, wait a minute. Let me start this all over. That's right, Mark. I did learn why I was attracted to them. Now, those type of women I attracted no longer are drawn to me.
Yeah, that's a good deal. Yeah, see, when you change, they don't. A lot of times people think they have to change their location or change this or that. But when you change yourself, those type of people won't come around you anymore because they're not attracted to you. So that's why you got to look in yourself, because there's something inside of you that draws those kind of people to you. If you find yourself being disrespected or devalued, you have done that. You have disrespected or devalued yourself first, because no one can do that to you unless you've done it to yourself to start with.
That's true.
We teach people how to treat us. We teach people how to treat us.
Yes, we do. I agree with that one. One of the best, Sir Hale Speaks, and Lucky Marie. They're good at balancing and pulling up comments on. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Let's see here. I say on my channel, I don't hate nor am I bitter at women. I don't allow women's behaviors to get me off my purpose or dictate what I do.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. That's yeah, absolutely.
Because a lot of guys do. I've been swayed off of mine sometimes a little bit. I have to admit that. It happens.
Okay. So yeah, so Jay is saying that so he's saying that you're a great man and an absolutely amazing father.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you this. This Christmas, the oldest son set Christmas up and bought gifts, tree, and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he got the kids to all write me a letter.
Oh,
He
wow.
put it in this little mailbox, and I didn't read it in front of them, but I came up to my room and read each one of those letters, and they all told me what they thought of me and how proud they were of me. And of course, I got choked up. I'll tell you, that's probably one of the best Christmas gifts I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Because I never had that relationship with my father, because my father was he was raised in an orphanage, had a tough life. He was a World War II veteran, and he was just a tough guy. It was a different time.
Mm-hmm.
We were good in the end there. I mean, I had a great relationship with him there in the last few years of his life. Like I said, it was an honor to care for him before he passed away for those 4 years. But we just never, people back then didn't talk about things like we do now. But my kids and I, we talk as men. We talk about women. We talk about life, about different things. And it's just, yeah, I'm really blessed. I mean, I'm really blessed. And it's not anything that somebody else can't have either. Family is so important. I mean, when you're on your deathbed, I'm telling you what, you're not going to be thinking about, well, I wish I'd have bought that extra acre of land, or I really enjoyed that Lamborghini. It's going to be the people, the family, the relationships you had, the people you've loved, and the people that's loved you. That's what you're going to be thinking about.
I agree.
I mean, I like money as much as anybody. Don't get me wrong. I like money.
I mean, yeah, of course. But but when it's, when it's when you're about to go, like, you can't bring it with you. So
Right.
the only thing that you can bring, with you is your memories, your memories, the people you love, as you mentioned, like the memories of the people that you love. That's what I'm saying.
Right. And I heard somebody say once, travel, because the money will return, but the time won't. How many people have you seen? And I've seen they're going to retire. They're going to do this. They either don't make it to retirement, or they retire and they're gone a year or two afterwards. I mean, live your life now. Now is all there is. This is the present moment. Yesterday at this time, it was the present. Tomorrow at this time, it's going to be the present. That's all there is. I mean, do what you want to do now. So many people live on someday I'll travel. Someday I'll do this. I'll do this when the kids graduate. I'll do this when I meet this girl. I'll do this when I get this job. I'll do this when I get this money saved up. And it never gets here. They never do it. Just do it. I mean, I've had a lot of failures because I've taken a lot of risks. But man, I'll tell you what, looking back on it, there's a friend of mine that says he's going to be the king of the nursing home. What's the king of the nursing home? The guy that's got the greatest memories. And I'm telling you, that's what you want to be doing, is living your life now. Don't wait to live it until you're 60 or when you get this job or make this amount of money. Live it now. That's all you got.
I agree. Mark and KD, great convo. Gotta eat and watch The Mandalorian. Good show.
I don't watch TV, so I don't know. I watch a movie once in a while on what is that called? Prime, Amazon.
Amazon Prime, yeah. They got some good stuff. They got some good stuff. All right, but we are over the 2-hour mark. So what I would like to do is, get your final thoughts on, on this conversation, and just let the people know where they can find you, sir.
All right, well, you can find me on Instagram at Mark's Inspiration, Twitter at Mark's Inspiration, Rumble at Mark's Inspiration, YouTube at Mark Daniels, Mark's Inspiration, and Amazon. I got 2 books out, Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels, and The Power is Within. Both of those are available. I'm writing another book, which I've been dragging on. I think I've been writing on it for a year. I call it, it's about the way of men and women. I'll get that done someday. Actually, I was supposed to go to Playa del Carmen. I was going to finish that, and my passport was messed up, so I couldn't go down there. So I still have not finished that yet. But you can find me in those places. website, marksinspiration.com. And we put a video out sometimes every day, several times a week, just depends. And the podcast on Saturday night, the Power is Within podcasts, every Saturday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Come there and join us. I'll recognize you in the chat. Hey, it's been a pleasure being here.
Oh man, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely, man. We gotta do it again, or I would definitely love to come on your platform at some point. Definitely appreciate you, man.
Well, let me tell the guys too, travel, get out of the U.S., get out of this bubble. There's a whole big old world out there and they don't think like we do. That's just whatever you can do, travel. There's ways to travel that are really inexpensive. I never traveled those ways, but I've seen people do it. So you can do it. Just go out there and have an adventure. Think about the men of old that used to sail off for months or years at a time. Sometimes they didn't come back. Or the people that went off to war, the men that went off to war for years before they came back. Men have this warrior within them, this sense of adventure, this need for challenge and adventure. And until you find a way to express that, whatever that way is for you, you will not feel fulfilled as a man. That's why so many people in the Western world are depressed. They're out of shape. They don't know what to do. They feel like their life is meaningless. Like I think it was Thoreau said, most people live lives of quiet desperation because they do have that dream and that desire within them, but they've rationalized it down. I can't do that. I don't have enough money. I can't. Or they told somebody about it and they give you all the reasons why you can't do it. But you can do it. I've been able to do everything I've ever wanted in life. Some things I didn't accomplish, but I realized as I was going towards that goal that I went somewhere else and I really wanted that more than what I had set on the goal. It was something better. So set a goal for your life. You have to have a direction. If you don't have a direction, you can't be guided by God, higher power, divinity, higher self, whatever you believe in. Like I say, I'm not a religious guy either, but I believe there is something greater than myself that lives within me, that guides me, that brought me here tonight. This was not my idea. You contacted me and here I am. So, and it's been a great time. And most of the good times you'll have in your life is something you didn't plan. It just, these things come about. If you have a goal, a vision, you meet people and you'll come to what they call bridges of incidences, where you meet people seemingly coincidentally that are in line with your goal. But you got to cross these bridges, and under every one of these bridges there's a troll that's going to kill you if you cross it. You think he is. So fear stands in the way of you and what you desire in life. You got to walk through that fear. If you face that fear, it'll disappear. But if you don't, you cow back, you'll be miserable. We're constantly expanding. And if you're not expanding and moving in the direction of your goals, your vision, you're contracting, and contraction leads to depression. That's it.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate you.
Sure. My pleasure.
Make sure that you do subscribe to Mark's channel. The link, I did pin it at the top of the chat, but it's right here. And the link will take you to his website, and also you can see he does have a book on Amazon. And I'm gonna get that book, man. I'm gonna get that book. I can't wait to get that. So, and you said that you're working on another book, but I assume that's gonna come out maybe summer.
Hope so. I got to get to writing.
Oh, you haven't started writing yet?
No,
oh,
I have. I'm on about chapter 9 or 10, but I
okay.
It's been spotty.
Okay, I won't put too much pressure on you because I said summer. He's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, last time I was talking to Affy Kingdom, and he kind of inspired me, so I wrote a few chapters, but I haven't done anything for a while. So. Yeah,
man. Speaking of Affy, I'm going to be on his platform this Saturday.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, he just sent me his new book. I wrote the foreword for that new book of his.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Keys to Masculinity. I can't remember. I think that's what it was.
I think that's what it's
Is that
called.
it?
Yeah, Keys to Masculinity. Yep.
Yeah, he's got some good books. I've read probably 10 or 15 of them.
Yeah, no, he's got some excellent books. You know, and what a lot of people don't know is he writes children books too.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's what I heard him tell me.
Yep. Yeah, man. So definitely great stuff, man. You know, definitely appreciate you, Mark, and you know, friend of the show. Don't be a stranger.
All right.
Excellent content, man. Excellent content. Seriously, man. You know, please subscribe to this man. Great story. Great story. I mean, you know, he you know, I guess I would say this. He is the epitome of like really saying that you can actually really fall down and get back up, and you can really accomplish your goals and really continue to push your best foot forward. And he was able to persevere. You know, started off wild. Now he's doing his thing, you know, on a different route. Father taking care of his children, business, has his children working for him. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Men, we can do it. Stay focused, stay on your purpose, stay on your grind, and continue to do what you do. And you know me, stay purposeful. And I'm out. Peace.
Take care.